All right, here's the bluff. Armed, righteous men are the only bulwark between life and evil. And that is why white hats matter. Now, those of you who follow the show have been watching us for a while. You know, at the end of our live segments on Sundays, we do a segment called White Hats Matter. Heartwarming tales of death and destruction, where we tell stories. We look for the stories of armed citizens, lawfully armed citizens, defending themselves or others. And our favorite stories, of course, the ones where we end with the bad guy gone. Call him DRT, hashtag DRT, dead right there. So today, it's terrible. We've got our elected officials getting together to play a softball game for charity. And some Bernie bot comes out to murder a bunch of people. But there is good news. Ron Paul pointed out that if it hadn't been for Solis being present, for the majority whip being present at the game for practice, that the measure of security which is available to him and not normally available to lesser members, that would have not been there. And so there would have effectively been no police presence. And of course, as we know, when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away. So if it hadn't been for the armed security guards there to protect Solis, then this guy might have gotten away with an absolute. He'd have been free to massacre the Republican representatives that were there to play softball to raise money for charity. Now, in fairness, they were practicing today to play a game with Democrats later, so bipartisan charity, good stuff. But what we have, go look at this guy's Facebook page. I'm not going to say his name. You can look it up. For one, I'm going to mispronounce the last name. It's a long one. But the guy's a Bernie bot. Now you look at your Antifa, you look at your Berkeley riots, you look at the riots around Trump's inauguration. These were not Hillary voters for the most part. I cannot believe that I'm forced to say something in defense of that evil woman. But in fairness, for the most part, these guys are disenfranchised Bernie voters. But even AMP today has already run a headline that says that this shooter was a Trump hater called to destroy Trump supporters. And on the president's birthday, no less. Now, I think I've said enough about the shooter himself. I want you to be on the lookout. Over the next several days, we're going to hear more calls for gun control from the left. We're going to hear more cries about assault weapons and military-style guns on the street. And remember this, the only reason that this criminal who had a gun was able to do as little damage as he did is because righteous men bearing arms and one woman returned fire. And don't ever forget, Stefan Molyneux said this best. Anti-gunners are not actually anti-gun. They're very pro-gun. They are pro-guns in the hands of authorities to take weapons away from citizens. They're not anti-gun. They're pro-centralized militarization. They're pro-monopolized, centralized violence. Now, as soon as you start hearing all that noise, remind them that if it hadn't been for Solis being present with his security detail, then there wasn't anybody to stop this shooter from doing whatever he wanted to do. Thankfully, as the president reported just a little while ago, the shooter is dead of his wounds at the hospital. Not quite a hashtag DRT, but it's close enough. I'll take it. Now, before I close this one out, I do want to take a moment. It breaks my heart that this had to happen today. But I want to take a moment and remind you that my favorite president's birthday is the same as my favorite Army's birthday, and that's today. So happy birthday, Mr. Trump. Happy birthday, President Trump. And happy birthday to America's fighting Army. I love you. I'm thankful for what you do. I wish I could still be out there doing it with you. I miss you. And boys, be safe, have fun, and give them hell. Remember, the enemy is filled with chewy nougat. And that is the bottom line.